Everyone wants a pill for brain health. Walk into any supplement store or scroll Instagram, and you'll see dozens of products promising better memory, sharper focus, and even protection against Alzheimer's. But here's the problem most of them don't do what they claim. So, how are you supposed to know what's worth it and what's just expensive marketing? Today, we're breaking it down. I am grateful to have two of the most trusted brands in brain health as founding sponsors of this podcast. First, we are proudly supported by NeuroReserve, a brain health nutrition company dedicated to bringing us high-quality, science-backed supplements, including Relevate, a brain-specific blend of omega-3 fatty acids, and Revanta, a pure-grade creatine. In fact, if I had to personally choose just two brain health supplements to take, it would be Relevate and Revanta. Learn more about their commitment to brain health at neuroreserve.com and use code BHKPodcast for 10% off. We are also proudly supported by Better Brain, the world's first brain health and dementia prevention program that's covered by insurance. They provide a brain health panel of over 50 markers, expert coaching, and a personalized action plan. Most people pay nothing out of pocket. Check it out at betterbrain.com/Annie.
Hi, Annie.
Hey, Jenny. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited for our first Ask Annie special episode.
Yeah, me too. I think this is such a great idea. We have one dedicated podcast episode a month to answer questions that come over on the Substack over at Brain Health Kitchen. And today we're talking about brain health supplements.
Yeah, this is one that we get a ton of questions about. I have a ton of questions about, and I feel like my social media feed and my inbox are just bombarded with supplements, especially brain health supplements. And it's really hard to know what's worth it and what's not, and what's just hype. And I know that you have spent many years researching brain health supplements, and I'm looking forward to you breaking it down for us.
Yeah. I mean, I get this everywhere I go. Wherever I speak in the world, people want to know if there's like one supplement they need to take for their brain health. And, the supplement science has come a long way. I also come from the position of being a practicing physician for many years. In my 20 years of practice, when people come in and show me all of the supplements that they took, I would basically go down the line and say, you don't need that. You don't need that. You don't need that. And a lot of doctors I know even today still have a conception that supplements are probably not necessary, that they're
Yeah.
just like you're creating expensive urine, is what a lot of doctors will say. But in the last couple years, especially in the last 5 years, there's been a lot of new science in terms of brain health and which supplements are actually worthwhile. And so there's a piece of this whole brain health supplementation issue that is evidence-based. And that's what I'd like to bring to light today.
Yeah. And the science is changing all the time. So I know that you're keeping up on it for us so that we don't have to do that.
It is changing. Sometimes I hear doctors on social media say, oh, you never need to take a supplement. You're just wasting your money. And I wonder if they've been reading the same studies that I've been reading, because there is a short list of very well documented and good for the brain things that you can take.
Yeah.
But it's a minority. That's the tricky part. It's the minority.
And I know that you really advocate a food first mentality on how we get what we need for our brains.
Absolutely. Brain health nutrition we've come so far in terms of knowing what a brain protective diet is. We know the components. We know the 10 brain healthy food groups. We did a whole podcast episode on that a few weeks back. I wrote a whole book about it. My Substack's basically about, what to eat for your brain based on the science. So we know what the nutrients at play are, the micronutrients, the macronutrients. All of these things are being established in the scientific literature. So that's the good news. That's really good news. The difference is, like, when you think about supplements, any supplement, I like people to think of them as drugs that you prescribe yourself, because that's what they are. They tend to have a therapeutic range where, you can take too little and it doesn't have an effect, or you take too much, you can get overdosed. Okay, we see that. There are some that have data to show benefit and some that show no benefit at all. And then, just like drugs, it should be individualized. So I think the overall concept here to think about, if you're thinking about your supplement regimen, is being strategic about what you choose, getting the best products, knowing what your goals are, and making sure you have the right dose, and then reassessing it. Every 6 months or a year, reassess what the science is saying. Some supplements might fall off your list, some might get added to your list, kind of just like medication and other things you do for your health.
Yeah, so it depends on our own physiology and our own family history and our own diets, it sounds like. And we can use blood work to give us, a sense of where we are in some of these, and we'll go into that. I also understand that because supplements are not regulated like prescription medicine, even though they affect our bodies and our brains in powerful ways, companies can, produce products that are of varying degrees of quality and even dosage.
It's true. And so we saw some reader questions about that, about how do you
Mhm.
find a good product? What do you look for on the label? So we can go into all of that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is going to be a great episode for our paid subscribers. We're really looking forward to answering your individual questions.
Yeah, and if you want to hop over to my Substack, the homepage is brainhealthkitchen.substack.com. And if you join as a paying or founding member, you can submit your questions to be answered in the next Ask Annie episode. And plus, we'd love to have you as part of the community.
Annie, we had so many great questions about supplements. And I think a good place to start was a couple readers asked, I feel overwhelmed by all the supplement advice out there. If I'm already eating pretty well, do I actually need supplements for brain health?
It's a good question. You might not need anything. So, with a food first approach, you want to make sure you're eating a wide variety of foods from the 10 brain healthy food groups. And we can show my food pyramid again in the show notes and up on the screen. But basically, this shows you what we think, based in 2026, what the science says about eating for a healthy brain that keeps your brain healthy now and also prevents dementia later. And so supplementation is really designed to fill in the gaps of what your brain healthy diet might be lacking. Okay. But I'll just give you a personal viewpoint on this. I would submit that there's probably nobody who's more conscientious about eating a brain healthy diet than I am. And I've been eating this way ever since I discovered the data back in like 2012. Right. So I've been doing it for many, many years. And there's still times when I'm not getting that serving of leafy greens every day, or I'm not finding high quality fish and seafood where I live. I do feel like my brain healthy diet, as much as I try, does fall short. So one other way to look at supplementation is to cover yourself with the most important brain health nutrients so that you have a buffer for those times when you may not be eating as well. There's also another argument that our food is not as nutrient dense as it used to be,
Mm.
either because the soil is depleted or just, whatever reason. And I think there's some validity to that when it comes to certain micronutrients. But first, take a look at your dietary pattern, screen for vitamin deficiencies. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And another important way you can figure out if you need to take something is to screen for the most important vitamin or micronutrient deficiencies when it comes to the brain. Like, for example, omega-3 fatty acids. This is something you can screen for. Keeping your vitamin D level at a certain level, making sure you're not deficient in B vitamins or iron. These are all very pertinent to brain health.
And by screen, you mean usually a blood test with your doctor?
Yeah, yeah. These can be blood tests that you get through your doctor's office, or you seek out and get online directly from a lab.
Yeah. And you were surprised recently by some of your blood work. And we can go into those where you found some deficiencies and are adding supplementation. So, checking out your levels, especially over time, because your body is changing. For women, it changes quite a bit in our 40s and 50s. Like it does seem necessary to keep an eye on it, not just one time.
Yeah, this is something that should be constantly reassessed. The science changes rapidly, and reassessing your medication, whatever interventions you're doing for your brain healthy lifestyle, and your supplement regimen is a really good idea.
So we had several people ask, what should I be screened for? What levels should I be screened for?
Well, when you go for your annual checkup, you may already be getting a serum vitamin D test. So, this is a blood test to make sure that you have enough vitamin D. And we know that vitamin D is really not a vitamin, it's a hormone, right? You get it from sunshine. Your body activates it from its pro-hormone state into an active form. And it's important for many different things, including immunity, cancer prevention, and brain health. So the data on vitamin D and brain health is a little complicated, but I would summarize it to say that in general, you would want your serum vitamin D level to be in the upper level of normal, which for most people is above 50, and to have optimal brain health. Because there's been an association in observational studies that vitamin D deficiency is associated with more dementia. So this is something that, really deserves a randomized controlled trial. To my knowledge, there isn't a good one that rigorously tested this, but there's so many good reasons to optimize your vitamin D. There's other data that looks at how it's good for your bones, it's good for preventing breast cancer, it's good for having a strong immune system. So I don't think there's any downside to having upper levels of normal of vitamin D. Vitamin D is one of those vitamins you don't want to have too much of. All the fat soluble vitamins like D, E, A, and K, if you take too many of them, then they can get stored in fat cells in your body and you can get re-released and you can end up with too high blood levels. So, really important to check a vitamin D level, number one. I hope you enjoyed this preview of our Ask Annie episode on brain health supplements. These episodes are something special I do each month for our paid subscribers, along with in depth articles and brain healthy recipes. If you'd like to hear the full conversation and join our community, come see me at brainhealthkitchen.substack.com. Before you go, if anything we talked about today made you think about your own brain health, check out our founding sponsor, Better Brain. They built the world's first brain health and dementia prevention program that's covered by insurance. Expert coaching, a personalized action plan, and most people pay nothing out of pocket. Check it out at betterbrain.com/Annie. And if you're looking for reliable, science backed brain health supplements, check out my other founding sponsor, NeuroReserve, at neuroreserve.com. Like I said in the beginning, if I only had to choose 2 brain health supplements to take for the rest of my life, it would be number 1, Relevate, which is their brain specific omega 3 fatty acid, and Revanta, which is the purest creatine I have ever tried. It is a creatine monohydrate that dissolves completely in a glass of water. Check them out at neuroreserve.com. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.